And welcome back for episode 3 of the Center Grove Trojan Beat. Chris Wood, Rob Thompson with you, and our next guest we have in line tonight would be, I would call him a legend in the Center Grove community in so many different ways. Freshman extraordinaire from Indiana University, but also, I think, one of the most class act young men that I've seen come through Center Grove in so many ways in basketball and just as a role model for the young men and women in this community, one Grant Long. Grant, welcome to our podcast tonight.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being here, and I appreciate the kind words.
Not a problem, Rob. Jump in here. I know you've got some questions. We're kind of shooting the breeze beforehand, so go for it.
Yeah, and I'll just throw a little intro here. And if you don't know Grant Long, this kid is an inspiration. The way he handles himself. Was able to coach you for a year or two. Sat on the bench with you. Mr. Positive, team guy. There for everybody. And so, when we're talking about doing this podcast, it was like, all right, who are we going to get? Well, I'm going to see what Grant Long's doing.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's important that, part of this podcast is that we celebrate people in our community. And you're young and fresh out of high school and college, but, Grant, you're going to do big things. And you've already done big things, in my opinion, just within your peer group and who you are and how you handle yourself. But we want to celebrate you today. So we're going to get into this a little bit. And I kind of just want to, what was it like for you to grow up in Center Grove? What was the best part? Kind of give us a little bit of a history of Grant Long growing up.
All right. So growing up in Center Grove, I've lived here all my life. Through all the school systems, went to North Grove, was a Viking there, through elementary school, then went to middle school North. Was there for 3 years, and then went to high school. Graduated last year. Best part about Center Grove? That's a hard question. Honestly, geographically, I like the location of it. Wouldn't mind coming back and starting my family here. But school-wise, the education was great. But probably my favorite part going through CG was just the consistency with all of my friends. I was lucky to have all my friend group, my main friend group, stay together for all those years, and the youth sports that really started young, that I was able to create those friendships in, was a big deal with band and football, and then with the rec leagues, with basketball. That's where I met all my friends now, and through sports we've stayed close. But yeah, just the consistency with everyone in the school system, growing up together as a class. Come senior year, I really felt like I knew everyone and got to know everyone, and it was just really fun, and I really enjoyed it, living in Center Grove.
So, Grant, the first time I got to meet you was in 7th grade. It's my first year coaching, my second time around at Center Grove. Right. But that would have been 2018, 2019, I think, season, a few years ago. And I can remember Coach Hahn just talking about you and your character as a 7th grader. Mm-hmm. And that obviously carried all the way through high school, and just how much you meant not just as a young man to have around the program, but I think it's fair to say what you meant to all your teammates out there. Kind of talk about what it meant to you to be part of a team, be it basketball, be it football, whatever it was. What did it mean to be a teammate for your teammates?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I've always been the most athletically gifted or best at any sport that I've ever played, but being a part of the team has always been my favorite aspect of sports. I mean, I've played football and basketball growing up. I feel like those are two of the biggest team sports. But the team aspect, I feel like I'm a pretty selfless player in sports, and honestly, that was my favorite part. That was pretty an attracting thing to sports. Just being out there with my friends, I got to play with my friends, but just being able to do the small things, the little things to help the team. It was never about myself. Out there, it was just fun to do it with my friends and to contribute any way that I could. And not most of the times it wasn't scoring all the points or making a contribution on the court come senior year especially, but just the little things in practice, advice that I could give to younger guys. It was just anything I could do, honestly, to put the team first was my motto going throughout sports, and middle school and high school.
So I was doing just doing some research stuff, before we started doing this podcast, and I stumbled upon self-aware, right? And Grant, I think at your age, it's true. It's remarkable because there are adults that don't have it. That you made a comment. I may not have been the best athlete. I may not have had the best size. I may not, right? But you're a hell of a teammate.
Right.
You're a hell of a person. And we keep saying this in our last few episodes.
Heck of a 4 for me.
Well, you bring a lot of good qualities, and I'm not doubting or diminishing any of your athletic ability.
Right.
But I think what's important for us and what we recognize is who you are as a person. And I do, and we kind of mentioned the Kokomo game. We went up and played Badunga, and there were a lot of locker room moments where dudes weren't happy, and there are a lot of things that are said in the locker room.
Right.
And there was one dude in the center of it that says, "Hey man, we got this. We're good." Or that one guy that maybe is emotionally just not there right there. Like you're grabbing him saying, "Hey, do this."
Right.
Where does that come from? Like why? Like what do you think? Obviously, it's who you are, but where does that come from?
I mean, honestly, like from a young age, I feel like I've always like put people ahead of me, or I've never thought of myself first in a lot of situations. I mean, credit to like my parents, obviously. I'm very thankful
Your
for
mom,
them.
not your dad.
yeah. No, I'm very thankful for both of them.
They're great people.
But I mean, yeah, just growing up, like I remember pretty young, like I remember one time going up in Indy. I think we would always do Christmas at the zoo with Santa, and I remember one time we were going through and we drove like to see the like tree, like the center circle, like the tree downtown Indy, see it lit up. And I remember we were walking and like there was like a homeless guy or something on the side, like that we were walking by. And I remember like he had a sign and he was begging for money. And I remember like turning to my parents like, "Hey, let's help him out. Like he needs money. Like why don't we help him out?" And I remember like my parents like talked to me and like they're like proud of me for mentioning that to them or whatever. But like it's just I feel like something that's always been inside me. Like I've always prioritized the people around me, or cared, not necessarily that I've cared more for the people around me, cared for myself as well, but
Yeah.
I don't know, just that mentality of just like putting people ahead of me or being selfless. I don't know, I've just always had it, I guess. I mean, like I said, credit to my parents. They taught me a lot, shaped me into the person I've been, as well as other people like coaches or parents' dad or teammates' dads, obviously. So I don't know. I mean, I just feel like it's something I've always lived by, to put people ahead of me. It's been something important.
Yeah, and I just to comment on what you're saying there, and I think again this is why I love you so much, and I'm glad you're here, is because you're hitting on points that we've discussed when we decided to do this, and that was the village around you, right? And like the village around Coach Wood's kids, the village around my kids, the village that you grew up with, where you had the same group of people rooting and cheering you on, and supporting you.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge, and I think that's important for us to bring to light. That's what this community is about.
Yeah,
Would you
definitely.
agree?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like I said, when I talked about like growing up with the same kids, like in sports, like it wasn't just their kids, like it was the people in the stands, it was the coaches. I mean, year in and year out, I think I had Josh Cherry, my dad, Greg Coy. I feel like they coached me for 8 years straight in the youth leagues, and Todd Railing was another football coach. And I mean, it's just the same, like Center Grove, I feel like it's a bigger community. It's grown a lot more even before I was there, obviously, but like just the camaraderie that like you can walk into any restaurant or you can go anywhere and someone. Like you can't go into a Kroger and not get in a conversation and talk for 5 to 10 minutes with people that you haven't seen for 5 years. It doesn't matter. Like everyone knows each other, and it's got a small town feel, even though it is grown exponentially. But just those people that are always like you can go to so many people. I feel like for me, I mean, I'm a talker. I've always been a talker. I feel like I know everyone. I feel like everyone knows me, but I feel like I can turn to so many different people in the community, and they have my back, and I can talk to them about anything. And I mean, yeah, it's just part of CG and part of I guess my personality, just to know as many people as I can. I mean, networking's big, but just the caring behind everything, with knowing people
It's got to
and
be
making those
genuine.
relationships.
Got to be genuine. Yep.
Exactly.
So let's kind of jump ahead here. We're doing This Is Your Life, I guess, with Grant Long.
Yep.
But Grant, talk to us a little bit. Let's talk about your senior year of basketball.
Mhm.
Okay. Got to the semi-state. Kind of just talk about the experience of that of early in the year, or kind of when did you realize as a team, we could do something special this year. I mean, it's a pretty special year.
So we started out the season 3-3, and coming into the season, we had 8 seniors. My senior year, we had 8 of us. And the previous year, we had 7, and we were ranked number 2, I think, going into sectionals in the state. And we lost. We lost in the sectional final, and that was a big shock and disappointing as a team, obviously. So coming into senior year with 8 seniors who had been in the program, who had know the right and wrong things to do, we had high expectations. And when we were 3-3 around December, we met as a team in the locker room, and we wrote down on our whiteboard, and we kept it in the locker room the entire season, our goals that we wanted to accomplish. And some of them were like, just win the next 4 straight. And it was like, win the next 4 straight until I think it was like January 15th. We set a date, and we said win every single game up until that date, and then we'll reassess. And then we were struggling with defense, and we were struggling with everything, obviously 3-3. So we set a goal for defensively for it to have our averages be at 44 points, which would be the second best in program history. So we wanted to set a goal for defense, and then for offense, we want to set a goal to play more as a team instead of playing so individually out there on the court. So we had our team meeting before Christmas, after we did our Christmas Angel shopping, and we sat down and just made a great list of goals. And from there, I think we went on to lose maybe one more game.
I've got it.
Was it one game or 2 games?
So you guys lost. Looks like we lost Fishers on December 22nd.
Okay.
We had Jennings County, which they were loaded,
Mm-hmm.
right? That was January 6th, and you guys ran off 15 straight.
Yeah, I think that. So yeah, the Jennings County game. It was after Fishers then, because the Jennings County game, I think we kind of as a team switched up the offense a little bit. Went to Coach Hahn, talked to him, and that week after New Year's, we don't have a game till January 6th.
Yep.
It's the hardest practices of the year. It's beat down drills. We didn't even practice with the ball for a week straight that season.
It's because you guys were losing so many games early.
It was rough. I mean, we thought the wheels were coming off.
Yeah.
We thought we were burning down because of the expectations. But no, that team meeting really turned things around, and the Jennings County game was a statement game, I think, for us moving forward in the season. And then, we just went on a run from Jennings County. When tournament time came, kept winning, took care of business back in Bloomington North, won sectionals. Then we went to Southport for regionals, and got to play Franklin again, which they beat us the second or third game of the year, and took a picture on our home court, and we remember that for sure.
Oh, we remember that, didn't we?
And we took the regional championship from them, so that was a fun moment. But no, that entire year was, just special.
Yeah.
Being with the same, like I said, 8 seniors. A bunch of friends on that team that I've been playing with since I was 5 and 6. So it was a special year for sure.
Yeah.
So looking back kind of more holistically at last year from a coaching standpoint and as a fan in the stands, one of the things that I always had confidence, and as a coach, sometimes you have confidence, sometimes you don't have confidence that guys can do things. But as a fan/coach, I always felt like at halftime that you guys were a group that were able to make adjustments at halftime and come out in the second half and really turn it up. And if I recall, that happened against Bloomington North in sectionals. I recall that happened against Franklin in regionals.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of talk about the chemistry aspect on the team in terms of just the ability to listen to each other and how important that is.
Yeah, so I mean, a credit to a lot to Coach Hahn, obviously, for making those adjustments and trusting us to execute that. But I think mentioning trust, I think that played a big part of it with the 8 seniors. I mean, a lot of our guys who played were seniors. I think we had 7 seniors that played and then, or 6 seniors that played and a junior. I mean, we had a pretty tight lineup, but halftime adjustments, we would sit down, so halftime would come, and we'd go in there, we'd have probably like 3 or 4 minutes to ourselves, and then coaches would come in and talk to us. So we would always talk and figure out what we wanted to do or what was going on right, what was going wrong, and I think a lot of it was trust with each of us. Like, we could, whether you were playing or not playing, you could turn to the guys and be like, hey, this is what we see on the bench, or this is what's happening in the game. Like, these are the adjustments we need to make. And then when Coach Hahn would come in, he would have his suggestions, and we would work together as a team and coach to go out there and execute the second half. And yeah, I think the trust that we had with each other to listen to each other and to know that, like, hey, we're in this together, like, we're trying to do the best we can. Like, I think that was a big part of the success that we had, even when sometimes we were down at halftime and ended up winning by 10 or 15. So.
And going off that same question, let's talk a little bit about Coach Hahn.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous X and O's guy, right? Understands the game.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimate competitor.
Yeah.
Right?
He is, yeah.
One little thing goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
But the guy coaches his tail off.
Right. Yeah.
And I know he loved your group and he loved you. Can you just tell us some of those things, maybe just more personally, what you've learned from him? He played at the highest level, right, at the college level, biggest stage, coming here, still kind of a young guy, passionate. Just what are some things maybe that you learned from him, and that maybe that you'll take with you, as you pursue your career?
So yeah, Coach Hahn, I mean, he's a great coach. He when it was my 3rd grade year, was his first year coaching, and the change, like, in the program and the respect that the basketball team had in previous years compared to when he came was night and day, honestly. I remember the game. I don't remember, like, games before he was there, but then when he showed up, he brought Indie Hoops, which was like the travel league for younger ages up until middle school, and he just brought a new culture with the program. I remember a little kid, like, I would be the water boy for some of the games, and I remember, like, hearing the huddles, hearing him scream at the players. But no, he's a genuine person, and he does have a lot of fire in coaching, but that's because he cares about us as players, but more importantly, he really truly does care about us as people. And he always says, like, when he's done with us, come senior year, he wants us to be better people, better human beings from senior year, or from freshman year to senior year, as well as better basketball players. But his priority is to be a better person, to teach us valuable life lessons, which basketball has plenty of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a lot of respect for him, and I'm very thankful for him for teaching me so many different valuable lessons. And obviously, staying in the program all 4 years, started to be able to talk to him more when I got older, when I was an upperclassman. But we would have one-on-one conversations about the team, especially when we were like 3-3. I mean, I didn't play a lot. I didn't expect to play a lot going into senior year, but I did everything I could to contribute to the team. And sometimes that was during study hall or AIM, talking to Coach Hahn for an hour and a half and picking his brain, picking my brain, because he trusted me as a person to tell him the truth, what was going on with the team, things maybe he didn't see or didn't hear. So the trust that he had in me was really important and grew our relationship. But
sorry to cut you out. I will say, what you did and who you are was more important than any points you ever scored for a Center Grove basketball team.
I would agree.
Right, and so I remember, being in the office and coaches were yelling at each other, angry, right, and then here comes Grant Long popping his head. Hey, coach, hey,
West Jam or main gym today.
yeah. Like, Grant, just go get him ready, right?
Yeah.
And you were always kind of that glue. And I do remember having some very spirited conversations with you.
Yeah, no,
when dudes were kind of being turds,
right?
And not in a bad way, just personality wise.
Yeah,
in the heat of the moment,
right.
You're losing, things aren't going your way, and like, dude, you like, this is on you,
right?
And probably not fair to you. But that's, I think, the perception that people have of like,
Yeah.
all right, Grant, like, dude, us old guys can't fix this, but you
Right.
can.
Right. And
Right?
yeah, I learned from Coach Hahn. So obviously not everybody's the same, especially in sports when it is the heat of the moment. I mean, you can't really get through to everyone the same way. It's not like you can just scream at a player and he'll react the way you want him to, or sit someone down and talk to him. You have to go at things or go at the people different ways because they react differently to situations. And that's one thing Coach Hahn taught me, because we had different guys our year who, if you yelled at certain players, they would shut down and sit on the bench the rest of the game and not react, and not you wouldn't get your message across. So for me, my kind of role, I like you said, I mean, I would talk to guys and I would yell at guys or say certain things to guys to get them going, to get them out of their slump or whatever it needed to be for them to be ready to go. But I feel like he taught me, like, you can't do the same thing for everybody because we're not all the same. And that was really important to get my message through because, like you said, I mean, it can't always come from the coach who you're not as personable with. Or So, yeah.
Once again, we're joined by Grant Long of Center Grove Basketball Success. And now we're going to transition, Grant, to you graduated from high school. And you knew you wanted to go to IU, I believe.
Right.
That was kind of decided early on, talking to you in your senior year. Studying education, right?
Secondary education.
Focus area?
Social studies.
Okay, well, I'll hopefully be working with you at some point in time. Center Grove, this is a guy you got to get. I'll say that publicly a zillion times if I have to.
Yep. You got a lot of people pulling for you, too.
For all the right reasons, obviously.
Yep.
So I guess I'll just present it this way. I know Grant Long's down at IU, and one day Carter and I are watching the IU take on UCLA, and next thing I know, I go, gosh, is that Grant Long in the background of the TV screen? My son calls it out. I see it. So we see Coach Hahn at one of our Sunday workouts. Says, yeah, he's managing, which I didn't know. How did it come about to have the opportunity to become a manager? How did that process unfold for you?
So my brother, he went to IU after he graduated.
Yep.
And I was a freshman when he graduated as a senior. So he became an IU football manager his sophomore year, with the connection that he had to the program. And then he's been doing it for the past 3 years. And then come time when I graduated, I was like, I knew I wanted to go to IU. I knew I wanted to stay with sports, keep myself busy. And I had a pretty good in to the program with the management. So my brother was able to get me on as a student manager for the football team.
And can you kind of outline for us kind of what some of your duties were on game day and during practice days, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I was a student equipment manager. And my position group that I was assigned to was quarterbacks. So that was my position group. So each of all the student managers, I think there was 18 of us, we were all assigned different position groups. And me and my brother got to work together this last year, which was really special. So, and I think quarterback is a pretty fun position to work with, pretty important position. So it was a really neat experience. But some of our duties, so we would do laundry for all the equipment. We would pass out all of the shirt and gear and cleats and all equipment needs that goes on with football, like the pads and all the equipment we handled. And then for practices, we would set up equipment, go up to our storage facility, get all the pads and get all the chutes and stuff, all the footballs, all the ball bags, set them out for pre-practice. And then as a quarterback manager, we kind of ran practice a little bit more than normal manager. We were in charge of spotting the football when they would go 7-on-7 or 11-on-11. We were the ones that we would get our script and we would look where the ball is, the hash and the yard line. So we got to spot the football. We would shag down the football when the play was over. And then working with quarterbacks when we would go indie, when they would just do their position group practice, we would throw and catch with the quarterbacks when they needed our help. So kind of just were there for the quarterbacks. Anything our quarterback coach needed, we would do. But yeah, we kind of got to run practice in a sense, which was really neat to be a quarterback manager with my brother.
Well, one last quick thing, and I'll turn it over to you for a little bit, Rob. Talking quarterbacks, obviously there's a couple of Center Grove connections. You
Yeah,
had a chance
there
to work
is.
with this last year,
Yep.
and Taven
Yep.
and Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool opportunity to get to work with those guys.
Yeah. We always joked. So there were three quarterback managers, student managers. So me and my brother were two of them, and then there was another kid. So three of us, and then there were 5 QBs in the room. So the entirety of the quarterback room, 4 out of the 8 guys were all from Center Grove, which was pretty
awesome.
pretty crazy, honestly, if you think about it. But yeah, it was a great experience, and yeah, Tyler Cherry has been one of my best friends since we were little through the youth program. So just going through high school with him, and then being able to go down to Bloomington and keep doing the same thing and work with him in football has been such a great experience. Then as well as doing it with my brother and Taven, it was a really fun year. So.
All right, I'm putting you on the spot. Who throws the best ball out of those quarterbacks?
Oh, I mean, Curtis.
Who spins it?
Curtis threw a pretty good ball.
Yeah.
Taven could rip the ball down the field.
Yeah.
No, but they all threw a good ball. Obviously, Tyler threw a good ball.
Oh yeah.
I mean, those CG guys know how to throw the football. But yeah, I mean, they all threw a very beautiful ball. Honestly, it was easy to catch the ball from him. I'll say that.
So I want to get into after college, but just real quick, give us a summary of what it was like being a manager on 11-1 squad football. I mean, what? Just if you could paint a picture for anybody that, and no one's listening to this anyway, and they won't. So, but paint a picture of, what that was, how it felt, just the changes that you were able to live through in that moment.
I mean, honestly, I always feel a little guilty coming down their freshman year and get to go 11-1 compared to the last couple of years, because Mason, my brother, he's experienced some
tough times.
Some tough times for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So we have a victory flag on the big flagpole in the stadium, and it's the red IU flag. And before this year, my brother had only seen it 9 times in the last 3 years. So to see it,
That's awesome.
to see it 11 times this year,
Yeah.
and for it to be up for months on end was very, very cool. And I mean, just it being a flag on a flagpole, I mean, think, it's okay. I'm just looking at a flag flying in the air, but that,
it meant something.
The amount of work and the amount of time and dedication that went behind that was very, very it was just so cool to see. And yeah, I mean, as a manager, it's hard work. It's different work, obviously, from a player standpoint, in the past. But yeah, it's still hard work, and I mean, you're just as involved, and
people rely on you
as much care as the players do. You really do feel involved with the team. And credit to our quarterback coach, Tino Sincerni, who just got the job for offensive coordinator at UCLA. He did a great job of involving not just obviously the quarterbacks in the room, but us 3 managers. He did a great job involving us, making us feel a part of the group. When practice was over and they would break it down, and we were in the huddle, we were in the huddle with them. He involved us just as much as a player, as even though we were managers, we were right there with them, and he talked to us the same way as them and treated us the same way. So,
awesome.
Yeah, I was very thankful for that, and it was just a once in a lifetime experience for sure.
So are you going to do it again next year?
Oh yeah,
awesome.
I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there till I graduate.
All right, awesome. All right, so tell us. I mean, we kind of know, where I think you're headed, but what's the future hold for Grant Long after college?
So my major is secondary education with a focus in social studies, as of now. My goal, I mean, I've always in high school. Did my part in networking, trying to make as many connections as possible, but I've always wanted to come back and teach in Center Grove and coach in Center Grove. Credit to the community, obviously, for making me want to do that. But yeah, I've always once I was set, the reason I became a teacher was one of the teachers I had in Center Grove. So I've always wanted to come back.
That?
And it was Mitch McCoy, 8th grade year.
Yep.
He was a big part.
Follower of this podcast.
All right,
Yeah.
so he's going to have to listen, huh?
Yeah, he was a big part of
good.
my inspiration. I've told him, and he knows. But yeah, that was the main reason for wanting to become a teacher. And once I was set on becoming a teacher, I was set on. Well, I'm trying to be set on coming back to CG. So hopefully that's the goal. Whether it's teaching high school or middle school, or even if it's social studies, I know I just want to be back in the community and make a difference in kids' lives. That's the main goal. That's why I wanted to become a teacher.
Well, one more topic I want to get to quickly and briefly, but I think it's important from a community standpoint. You're part of the early college program, weren't you,
I
at the high
was,
school?
Yeah.
Talk about what that college program meant to you as you advanced to the college level. What kind of opportunities that provides you?
Yeah, so the early college program is great. My 2 other siblings did it, so by the time I was there, I kind of knew how it worked. But no, I loved it. Starting freshman year, we were with the same kids in our classes, and the first 2 years, not as much as the last 2 years, but early college was early college, and the kids in early college stayed in early college. So come junior year was when you really felt it. But the classrooms that you were in, it was with the same kids every year in and year out. Which come senior year, you know everyone so well, and you have a genuine friendship, or you have a genuine care for every single person in that early college group. And that honestly was something that obviously was very intriguing for me as a freshman. But when becoming a senior, like looking back, like even now, like for Christmas break, I had my star group chat, and I texted in there and caught up with old friends and stuff from early college, and my roommates next year from early college. So you really truly make lifelong relationships with the people that you go through high school with. And early college, you were with the same kids all 4 years. So it was just times 10 that feeling of just relationship that you're able to make with those people. So I loved it, and that was just like the relationship standpoint. But
how did it impact you going into college?
Yeah, you earned college credit with dual credit courses through high school. So I actually graduated with my associate's degree in high school. So I came out of there with 61 credits. So now in college, my freshman year, I was scheduled for 16 credits my first semester, but I dropped out of finite after the first day because it wasn't a course requirement for me. So I'm going to take, later on down the road, I'm going to take a beauty of mathematics class to satisfy my math requirement.
There's so much beauty in it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for it.
So much beauty.
A lot more than finite for sure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But thanks to early college, I mean, I already have my associates going in there. I had 59 credits transfer over to IU. So taking 13 credits this first semester, what didn't set me back behind any at all. I came in there as almost a junior credit-wise, even though I was in freshman year. So I'm hoping, if everything goes well, I'm hoping to get my bachelor's in the next 2 to 3 years and be able to start working on my master's while I still have my college paid for through the football management. So that's the goal. Don't know how it'll play out, but I keep working and see what I can do.
Well, if there's a guy that's going to hit some goals, it's going to be this guy, Coach. It's going to be Grant Long.
Grant Long will definitely reach those goals. One day, either I will be coaching against him, coaching with him, or maybe he'll take over for me, because I always say year 29 will be my last year of coaching. So that'll be about the same time that you'll be graduating from Indiana University. And as you know, there are many people here who would do everything they can to try to provide that opportunity because of the character you present, which is, again, the reason we want to have you on this podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate that. When I got the text, I was all in. No hesitation for me. I love talking.
No hesitation.
Yeah, no, it was a great opportunity. I loved it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Grant Long joining us here for our premiere night of our podcasts. And Grant, thank you so much. Go Hoosiers, and we look forward to this inside scoop about Kurt Sinetic the next time we talk.
Yep, thank you. I appreciate it.
We love you, man. We're proud of you.
Yep, love you guys too. Thank you.
Grant Long, ladies and gentlemen.